Hi friends, we're so grateful to be with you today and excited to just run through this business building guide. There was so much going on at convention. It was so amazing in so many ways, and I know that by Saturday, it's hard to take it all in. So we just wanted to come back and put a little highlighter on the business building guide so that you could just experience some of the power that is here. So let's hear from you. How are you today? Where are you joining us from? Just bring it in the chat. And love these questions. This guide will be available printed from doTERRA the last week of October, so that should be coming soon. And then translations, the most effective thing you can do is just ask your country, ask your manager, hey, when are we going to get the business building guide, so that they're motivated to get that translation done. Wow, so awesome to see people from Seattle, Norway, Canada,
Chile. Love it.
North Carolina, all over. So welcome, welcome. Yay. What a great opportunity. We are just feeling so renewed after convention and so grateful for the connection that it brings. And one of my favorite quotes from Greg Cook was it was so awesome. He said, let me see if I can grab it here. I've never been more optimistic or excited about our future than I am now. And we echo that feeling, that thought, and so excited for what is coming and what's right here upon us. So we're going to dive in today. We want to make the most of our time together. We want to keep it interactive and relevant for you. So we're going to not go into total detail on a lot of these things. So if you're a newbie and you have questions after this call, just make sure and go back to your upline, right? We want to just take this as a quick tour of what the business building guide can bring to you and how it can make a difference for you and just help you see some of the brilliance in it and how you could apply that and bring that home to your team, to your leadership, to your training. Where can this business building guide come alive and how can it really serve you? So, boy, lots of hearts and minds came together for this one. And it started out as a project to actually update the launch guide, right? To make the launch guide super relevant, to have more scripts in the launch guide. Because when the launch guide was first created, when we transferred it over, it was 26 pages, and then it quickly became 16 and a lot of things stripped down from it. So the reason that this guide, some of you were on even other trainings, right, in process of this. And the reason that this guide ended up being the business building guide is because there were some people duplicating with launch and they weren't ready to let that go. So don't worry, this has all the power of the launch guide in sections, and we'll intro that to you so you can really feel that. Plus, it's got the rest of the business. So really, if I was to call this anything, it would just be anything you need to build a business in doTERRA, right? And it's all right here wrapped into one, and it's actually beautiful. We haven't printed it out that often because it's seriously, it's 100 pages and you don't have to use all of that, right? How safe do you feel having a reference where you know where to go and it's there for you? So I don't recommend that you're printing it out in full color, whatever. Wait till it's coming from doTERRA, get it from doTERRA, because this literally costs us like $8 to print on our printer that's super, super effective. But again, the PDF is on Empowered Success now. So you could find that right on the page, and we'll show you right where that is so you can see. put the link in the chat. And for those of you in other markets, you know, encourage your market. And, you know, we've been known to work with people on our teams that like, they're ready to translate. And so they just start translating and then they can teach their teams that way. So don't be afraid. This information is there to help and serve you, okay? But work with doTERRA all you can and don't let the process hold you back, okay? So jump in, it's a great time. So we're gonna just jump into the guide. And again, we wanna see questions in the chat if you have questions, but then we'll hit overall. If you have relevant questions right when we're in a section, feel free and raise your hand and we'll call on you as that works. And then we'll take questions at the end as well, okay? So, loving the look and feel of this. If you, I know this does not look like black spruce on the front, but this is literally black spruce. And bringing all of that strength and all of that energy. On the back, it actually highlights that. So you'll be able to see on the back cover. So it's all about, this guide is all about growth, right? That's what black spruce symbolizes, and thriving, right? And advancing despite whatever environment we're in. How relevant for right now and the world that we're in and the environment that we're in. So I love this. And I'm just gonna read a little bit of this so you could feel it. And I think this was brought to us by Laura Jacobs right here, just this feeling and this piece. This was one of her awesome contributions, which she was like supporting in the Empowered Success Committee over this whole process. Such a big part of that and such an orchestrator in this process. For this reason, it has been chosen to represent the journey of a doTERRA wellness advocate who, while growing themselves and their team, will endure many seasons of learning experiences that refine the determination to unearth confidence, thwart distractions, and rise above limiting beliefs. That's you. That's where you are. This is what you're doing, right? Bearing pine cones, black spruce symbolizes the importance of nurturing seeds of potential within the cradled branches of caring leaders who know duplication is key to build a flourishing forest of success. So this guide, that intention is all about growth, thriving, and advancement, and how you can, I love this, even the theme of that quote there is the best way to predict your future is to create it. And this guide is all about that. So just diving in, you'll see a really beautiful guide, a lot more photos and quotes than you saw in the past. So some of what you may have loved from Share Success with the quotes and the feel good, you're gonna find that here in the business building guide. And this is a quick table of contents. Again, you'll notice super simple, organized in pipes, right? So quick welcome, then prepare, invite, present and enroll, wrap together, support, and then there's a whole section on just finding builders, okay? So again, that could be categorized up here, but we just really feel like that is a key part of, it's a whole other segment of our business, right? That it is about presenting and enrolling, right? Is this finding builders. And then we have personal development and an appendix with a few other resources that are powerful. And then the welcome just goes into this, you know, remember that super simple success cycle of we use the products, we share doTERRA, and then we teach others to do the same. And that's all we're doing is expanding on that simple process. This spread, you're kind of seeing half of it right here, is just helping you dial into creating your pipeline and what it's going to create for, you know, if you focus in on these beliefs right here, and this action of sharing, enrolling, and launching builders, you're going to get those results. So similar to what you saw before, but you're going to see so much of this process streamlined. So again, just overview of pipes, letting them know who's, you're preparing you're inviting, presenting, enrolling your prospects, and the supports that go with that. So this is one of my favorite parts right here. You guys, this 5 steps to success is really key because we do not have a part anywhere where there's like a checklist, right? And where someone that's really detailed can find that and figure it out and move forward and be really clear about what it takes, okay? So basically, these pages are taking you there. So, prepare is made up of set up your business and then fuel your launch. And, it's literally got everything that they need to know or do or remember. So you've got this just super great context, right? Of I can see everything and see where I'm at in the process. And as soon as I prepare my names list, then I'm checking that off. So for those of you, we loved this process of being able to like say, okay, we're doing an incentive, we're having a party, and all the people that get everything checked from this section, you're invited and you qualify for this, or you're qualifying for this drawing, or da-da-da, right? And we could do that on any given month. This is one of my favorite parts of this business building guide because it allows us to just pop into these 5 steps to success and have a real checklist. This is basically your launch checklist, okay? So here's steps 3, 4, and 5 for a quick view. Again, can you see how presenting and enrolling are just becoming one in a lot of ways? And then you've got really simple support. And then you'll see more emphasis on finding builders, because that is, as we've done more surveys, as we've looked across teams, this is one place where we just haven't been as strong. So when we see breakdown there, we're like, okay, extra emphasis, let's get this super clear. And that is step 5, right? So you're seeing just really going through the pipes, right? But finding builders being that last piece, okay? And these points have just been really dialed in so that you can see exactly what is needed and simplified. I'm telling you, this started out, I don't know how many pages, and it's just dialed in to write what it needs to be. How do you guys like this? How's this feeling to you? Great, huh? Isn't that powerful? So then we roll into prepare, and every section just kind of, again, as you're thinking about training, this helps you even set the tone for a training. Let's say that in your team call, you're just focusing a little bit on prepare 1 week and invite 1 week, da-da-da, and you round through the 5 pipes. You may want to just draw from these kind of things, right? So you have a feel-good quote, you've got an intention, and that could really be helpful in training. So just one of the ways that I see that coming together. Some of these things, how many of us have had a welcome letter and launch checklist and the opening spread of launch and all of those things that we're like, okay, wait, how do we get everybody launched and how is it super clear? Well, just kind of watch how these things are brought together here. So this is just for someone that's starting out, right? Setting up their business. This is step 1 on getting started. This is getting support, right? So specific, great, clear info right here. And then of course, getting equipped. So they're getting their materials. And I love this right here because, again, do you see how much detail that some of these things need to be, right? You remember when you're like, okay, first you've got to log in, then you've got to set up your back office, then you got to set up your website, blah, 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 right? Like the detail is here, but on your 5 steps to success that was right up here, all you're going to find is one quick thing that says complete the setup checklist and reach out to your upline mentor with questions, page 11, right? So super simple that you're just seeing that right here and dialing in all the way. So you can tell them, hey, let's set up your business and then we'll meet together for our launch overview. So this is giving them even some things to get familiar with. How many people are just like, they're so excited about doTERRA, they want to dive in, but they don't know really what to do. We dialed into the best resources and we tried not to put very much here, right? But so that they could see what was available and get familiar with some of those things so that they're more empowered right from the get-go. And then you move right in to set goals. And you guys, all of this stuff used to be like strewn across a few different things, but now it's just come together in a way that it's like, okay, set up your business, now set goals. So you'll recognize this part from the very beginning of the launch page. We had this concept before so people could see where they're really going. Well, sometimes then you need to repeat it again on the set goals page and but here you're seeing, okay, this is what elite looks like. And then you're going to move to silver and you're going to support 3 builders to get to elite. You've got your average incomes right there. They're seeing this process and then they're like, oh yeah, remember just from the build guide, I can choose my earnings, pay for your product, support your income, or replace and multiply your income. And these numbers, these hours, those have been dialed in as well. And at the bottom, it's showing you the rank step. So they can get clear on, okay, I want to be elite in 1 to 3 months and premier in about 6. And this is what I'm going to invest to pay for my product. If I'm over here, this is something realistic, right? And these are based on our average timelines and giving people that all laid out right here. So you're not having to dial into it every time. They can see it, they can dial in. And then of course we have the quick link to the opportunity and earnings disclosure summary right there. So again, really cool, really clear. Don't you love this too? You can raise your hands if you love the set goals page. But I love that it's just helping them be set up for success in setting those goals. So that's the kind of precursor. And then on the other side, you're just seeing the, hey, it's just your job to, all you have to choose was number 1, which kind of earnings you wanted, right? And number 2, you're just choosing your date, your pace, pardon me. So you've got your class launch date that you're choosing right there. Oftentimes we talk about when do you want to launch and but it's really the class launch date that is really when things kick off, right? And then they get to choose their pace. And this gives them examples of all of those different pacing, right? And it's just setting them up with proper expectations as well so that they can know, hey, usually if you have 1 to 4 weeks of preparing, sharing, and inviting prior to your first presentations, that's healthy, right? So we've detailed that and look at these examples so they can start seeing, oh, this is how it's going to work for me. And, you know, people that want to do it slower, we're even showing examples of, hey, you've shared with some people the first month, and then that's getting added on to LRP, right? So they can start seeing how that 3,000 PV and how they can get to it. And a lot of times, you know, those of us that have seen the process, it's super clear for us, but a brand newbie, these scenarios are super helpful. This was also tested on a lot of newbies, right? So we make sure that we're speaking their language and working with them and not just thinking like we think, and we're dialing in. So then at that point, once they know their pace for elite, then they're in a place to choose their goals. And they would set a 90-day goal, a 6-month goal, and a 1-year goal, just like we've dialed in, we know that works. And then just helping them solidify that and start going a little bit into a why, or more of the heart behind that goal. We just have like 3 quick questions. How committed are you? And then you've got this. This is one of the things I like to just, hey, let's set our goals together, and then, you know, or they can do that before this, but I'm taking a picture of this right here. So I can come back to this again and again as they get discouraged or something like that, right? You know, remember how your life is going to change when you hit that 1-year goal, right? Remember what we're falling back into if you don't hit that goal. What is this worth to you? Let's go there. I remember, you know, just from what you've written, right? And then just inviting them to record further insights on how to achieve their goals and dreams. So then we move down to names list, and lots of these things are going to look familiar. How do you like the design? Isn't it yummy design? So really great design group in the UK, just making it sharp and amazing and clear. So this was up for a while, but you'll notice that these names lists are getting more and more effective all the time, just more dialed in, right? So again, we still using the power of, okay, I'm listing all my family here. I'm listing all my friends here, right? But we've got, you know, Elisa's list of these are the things that make a difference that we had in the launch guide from the beginning, but then dialing in on a few other things as well. And then you've got, because right here, these first 3 things weren't really addressed before. Do they have a health need? Do they have a money or a time need? Or do they need to have more purpose? And those things are key. That really helps in the approach. So you'll see how these first 3 boxes are just helping people know, hey, what's my approach? How do I approach people? And that's guiding them from the very get-go. And then of course they're marking in any of the other requirements, you know, that we know help set someone up as a really successful, they might be more likely to have success in doTERRA. And then you've got your tally box where you can tally things, or where you're telling the number, right? So here's the example of how that's coming down, right? Angela, she's got, you know, a health need, a purpose need. She's female, and that puts her at 3, right? But then cousin Jen, she has so much there, right? So this is step 2, is where we're tallying those marks and seeing our numbers. And then this is just a description of each of these boxes, right? If people need more information, these bullet points are just carrying them through those boxes, right? Okay, so that's really that section. Again, I know the hours required is so good that that's updated. We should have notes up here so I can see that too, or something. Chat. So I'm loving how clean this is. Again, hit any questions. I'm just going to keep rolling. Again, here's prioritize your name list. We know how important this was before. But you'll notice something different right here. So what's the first step of prioritizing your names list? We're getting those potential builders identified first. We're not just going everywhere. And you'll see that these potential business partners are drawn out right here where you're thinking about potential builders. So maybe you made your names list, but these questions might bring up even some other potential business partners that you didn't go to, right? So this is helping just grab anyone else and think about all these potential builders in one fell swoop. So if I could work with anyone, who would it be? Who would I work best with? You know, this is the Seth and Rod magic, right? That's like, hey, who's taking those $1 million spots on your front line? And making sure that we've considered our best business partners with these questions right here. And, you know, if they add names right here, encourage them to take those back to the names list and add those to their tally. So then this is just taking us through this process of coming up with our top 45 from our tally numbers, and those top 45 are gonna move from this names list to the success tracker. And again, remember how we talked about those first 3 spots are gonna help us with our approach and to help them know what to do. And I love this step number 4, which is commit to enroll at least 1 builder in your first 14 days of starting your business. This will allow you to create healthy placement structure and maximize the compensation plan. Without builders, you only have customers on your front line and you have less ways to earn. Just some simple things that were not said before, but that are really helpful to people. And again, here you'll see the funnel and the focus in on, this is about numbers. You talked to 3 people, they said no. Remember, this is about numbers. You get to go back to that and keep sharing and, you know, set a goal to find 3 builders in your first 30 to 90 days. If you don't find builders right away, keep strengthening your list and keep enrolling. Many builders start out as customers who then begin to share. So just reassuring along the way and inviting to keep growing their list so that, you know, we're adding a few names every week and that process is happening. How many of you, as you start seeing these things, are you like, oh, I think I'm ready to go back and do this process again, right? That it's useful, it's helpful to do again, so that we keep dialing in on those that would be most blessed by doTERRA. So here's the success tracker where those top 45 are going to come, and you're gonna place your top builder prospects at the top. And again, maybe you have some product sample ideas right here, and here's your best way to contact. You're filling that in there, and you're choosing, hey, am I gonna approach with the product or the business? And a lot of that can be guided by, hey, where was their need? Was their need for help, or was their need for money, time, purpose, right? And that's gonna help you know what to do there. And then you're just walking right through your process, right? So there's your 45. This is just referring, these numbers right here are referring right here to your inviting 45, you're presenting to 30, you're enrolling 15, and you're finding 3+ builders. So just a quick, simple way. See how clean that is and clear? Really amazing. Yeah, it's part of the Empowered Success system now, and it's kind of the overview piece.
So somebody asked me on the success coaching call this morning, like, how do all the parts and pieces fit together? Like, does this come next after launch in the sequence? And basically what I would say is you could use it that way, but because it duplicates so much of launch, I would recommend that you choose to use either the launch guide or the business building guide in your duplication model. you know, whatever you choose to duplicate in your team, just be really conscientious. And me personally, I'm going to be using the business building guide just because it's so complete, right? And so,
and I think it's updated and relevant, right?
Yep.
It's got the scripting that set people up for success.
So I would go from build guide to the business building guide.
Yep.
So in our duplication model, we're going to skip over launch just because launch is, in a lot of ways, the launch guide is a lot like the share guide. It's kind of like, here's a nice little informative thing on how to host classes. It's not a serious business building guide.
Because it
got
to go
down
to 16 pages. It just became oversimplified. And so really bringing back what people need, it's still keeping them super simple, and it's bringing the best of everything all together. So I would go business building, but then I would use the rank guides in your rank trainings and in your calls, in your accountability groups. That's where I would go. So that's the big vision. Any questions there as you think about that and how you're using it that way? Easy, right? Nice. Okay, so let's keep rolling. Then we get to scheduling your success. If you notice, like, these are the essential things, right? Prepare is not like full of a bunch of personal development. This is essential stuff, right? That they're just like, what do I need to do every day? And here's the list of daily right here, you know? And I was missing this so much. Do you guys I loved this when we had this a long time ago and it was super clear. And I just felt like it got watered down and oversimplified, and people were like, what do I do? And I'm like, I don't even have a page to tell you where to go. And this is that now, right? Daily, you prepare and share. And you're going to use your product personal development, contact sample follow-up, and you're going to schedule interactions, classes, and one-on-ones. Take a picture of that. So these are the questions so that you know which things to focus in on every day, right? So you've got those questions. These were ones that Rod and Seth brought to the table that were really powerful, right? And then what to do, right? So they're getting those basics. Who can I share a product experience with? Oh yeah, Judy needs this, da da da. And then it tells them what to do, right? Who'd be open to learning about essential oils? Okay, I'm gonna invite them to an intro to oils class or a one-on-one, right? So this just kind of takes them through that process, right? On all those just daily questions. And then weekly, you're gonna present, enroll, and support. So you're gonna teach classes, you're gonna do wellness consults, you're gonna attend a team call and do strategy sessions. Monthly, you're gonna place your order, you're gonna set goals and track progress, you're gonna enroll 4+ customers in one builder, and you're gonna attend some kind of business training. Annually, you've got these things to consider. And here we have the best time map that I have ever seen, right? So you've got your prepare is the blue. You wanna be spending 10% there. And then you've got all your IPing, which is showing you, wow, you and your builder's IPing should be 70% of your time spent. And then maybe up to 20% on support. So this is a great, just quick time check for anyone so that they can know how to schedule their success. What we realized in a lot of these things is, at one point we were like, oh, gold should be spending this much time and da-da-da, but it really is very principled. So, those mentoring calls, even from the get-go when they have people, there's some time that needs to get invested in support, but it's really very similar and the principle is the same, whatever rank you are. So check in on this right now, how are you doing on that? I know I always lean towards more support time. So it's a great check-in and I love that visual. Teaches so much in just one image. Here you're dialing into the weekly schedule so they can see, okay, so what does that really look like then? Okay, I get what I'm doing daily. And now what do I do? So This weekly schedule is going to take you back to, oh yeah, remember, if you're doing pay for your product, it's 3 to 10 hours. If you're supplementing your income, 10 to 30. And, you know, if people are effective, it can totally be on the low end of this. But doTERRA also didn't want to overpromise and underdeliver. So you'll notice, you know, do you have to spend 30 hours a week to just supplement your income? No, you don't. But some people do, because they maybe don't spend their time as effectively here, right? So these numbers are really realistic. And so this helps you just take the week and set out the time. If people are working on other days, maybe they set aside Saturday and Wednesday night and Tuesday night, you know, whatever they're deciding. And that's helping them just calendar. And then they've got this visual, right? So you've got this visual. So you're seeing, okay, here's my personal development stuff. This is what I'm doing there. And these are the other types of things that I would be doing when I do doTERRA. This is what it looks like. So that's just a week at a glance, trying to keep it really simple, but have them have a realistic view. And this one is an example of 16 to 20 hour doTERRA week for a mid-level pace, right? So if they're wanting to go smaller, you're showing them how to, oh, hey, you know, you'll be doing half of the wellness consults and half of the one-on-ones, or maybe we just do, you wouldn't be doing a strategy session with your team yet, because you're just sharing on a smaller level, right? So it also has this note about fast tracking, right? So I love that this is highlighted here, because I think sometimes we do too much work when we could consolidate more. So it talks about how you could do your first 4 classes in a jumpstart week or weekend during your launch month. And that minimizes setup time. It's giving them multiple class options, and it allows you to build from one class to the next, right? So people that are excited can easily invite others to the next class, and that gives you maximized placement options as well. So just some time tips, right? As you're starting to plan and do those things, but again, really simple, right? How many of you love that page, right? The weekly schedule. See how the principles are taught and then it's applied right there, right? So they're seeing that, then they can put it into their phone. They're scheduling out that time right there. Then you have a really simple elite planner. They're choosing I am elite on or before blank, you know, and partner this planner with your success tracker so you know who to invite to classes, right? But this is their main thing that they're focused in on right here. And then we have their sched classes and possible one-on-ones, and they're seeing how they're going to get to that volume. And this also helps in case, you know, you want them to be able to offer a green book with their first LRP or something. This lets you talk about incentives from the get-go right here. So they're clear on that and can better close deals, close enrollments in the beginning. Again, some of the breakdown that we've had in launching is when people invite 30 people on Facebook Messenger, and then they're disappointed that only 2 people come or no one comes, right? So just really pointing that out. Hey, you know, actively inviting 15 people in person or via phone call, text, or passively inviting 30 plus requires far more invites to create the same results, right? To achieve your ideal class size of 6 to 10 qualified attendees. So this is helping them just take that out, multiply that down, see the results of their decisions so they can make good decisions on what they invest their time in and how they invite people, right? I mean, just bottom line, super clear right there. I love that part too. Less qualified, the more invites required, the more qualified, the less invites required. So that looks like Melina Harrison, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Be a solutions provider is this next section. And again, this is, can you see how it just feels good? And they're just introduced to one concept and they're able to take that in. So be a solutions provider. This is giving them the basics of using the products, right? If you want to be successful at this business, you got to use the products and live these principles of health, right? So here's a few basic things to help them know what that looks like. And it's really clear on that, and they know where to find more resources right here. And then sharing the products is another key part of being a solutions provider. And you guys, oh, this was drawn from one of the leadership presentations that was super powerful. So this is so powerful because, you know, all you're doing is inviting others to learn about natural solutions as a main line of defense. And you do that by creating experiences where they can discover solutions that exist for them, show them how a book in a box can take care of 80% of health priorities and address those at home. And then it's just helping people get the selling in its true form as service. Helping people find solutions to problems they have, or could avoid altogether, right? You are a solutions provider, not because you've solved problems, but because you empower others to learn ways to solve things for themselves. What a beautiful time and a day to live in that we get to do this incredible thing. So it actually is giving them, hey, this is what it looks like. How many of you have been a part of doTERRA and you learn how to do this, but you don't really know how to teach somebody else how to do this? That's where I have been throughout a lot of my experience. So this is the 1, 2, 3 of being a solutions provider. It's discover problems, right? Everyone experiences challenges and gaps in their, right? Relationships, health, finance, time, sense of purpose. So measure the impact. This is just like Tiffany Peterson teaches. Problems have cost and they can compromise your relationships, health, finances, time, trust, and belief. You know, how long has this been an issue for you? And there's scripting that goes with this later, right? But it's introducing this concept so that they get, this is what we're doing as solutions provider. They really can dial in on that. And then all we do is offer solutions. After we listen and identify the need, we offer our prospects the possibilities, right? And there's the scripting for the product approach, and there's the scripting for the business approach. And it's all on those pages. How do you like that? Amazing, right? So then all we do is teach builders to do the same. So, and then this just highlights into, hey, we just leveraged the 5 conversations. We have 5 conversations in doTERRA. We introduce people to the oils. We educate and enroll them in natural solutions. We commit them to living the doTERRA lifestyle. We can commit them to hosting presentations and building a business, right? So that's the basics there. How do you like that become a solutions provider page? Isn't that amazing? Let's hear it in the chat, you guys. Are you still awake? Do you have your spearmint? I hope you do. I know, Susan. It is awesome, huh? So the next thing you're going to take them to, how many of your people that you've launched, did they just bomb out the gate because they weren't clear on their message? And they just, again, it's kind of like that one video where the dog goes out and attacks the man and you're like, oh boy, we just didn't get really clear on that message, right? So this is a super simple way, right, to not fire hose and to get clear on, you know, who you are. And this is all about getting this mindset of seeking to serve. And then this is how we serve and how we choose to be a solutions provider. And it just helps them dial in. Can you see how it's just like a couple key questions, right? But helping them get clued in to really being a solutions provider. And this is what it sounds like in your words, your specific words. And then solving. you guys, we're not going to go into this, but I hope that you will do this process. In reviewing this, I was just so amazed at how brilliant this is now. When we know what problems we solve in the world today, we can do anything, right? And this really helps a new person dial in. It'll help you dial in right now. So again, Mark, I'm going back to page 25 and 26, and I'm rocking it. I'm doing this because this is brilliant and powerful. And then you've got your what you do statement at the end once you've gone through these questions. And what did we used to take people through this huge process to get?
Dream big.
Yeah.
Vision. Yeah.
7 different worksheets and to dial into this. And now it's all this one spread. And at the end, they'll have this what you do. I help mothers discover essential oil solutions so they can have their babies at home as an alternative to the traditional medical approach, because birthing can be beautiful and natural, whatever their special sauce is. And I really like this because it helps them just go through the process of writing it too. So it's just, the whole thing right there set up for them. And then the last thing they need on preparing is, I totally agree, Rox, on that being really rejuvenating. I was talking to a Presidential Diamond last night, and they were here in this, in this world that we're living in right now. And just like, I don't know where to go right now. I don't know what I'm going toward. I don't even know what my why is. My vision board doesn't even drive me right now. This is where we need to come back to, right? And dive a little deeper in seeking, serving, and solving. Because when we're clued in on that, and we're aligned on that, and we're relevant on that, then things come together and we're feeling that purpose and meaning, right? I think a lot of us need that right now. Just a reminder and just to dial in again. So this next section is all about just what if we actually set people up for success on mentoring? So we didn't create like enmity in these relationships that could just right? Your mentor is the person that can help you through this process. And we really want the launchers to know that. And you are in business for yourself, but not by yourself. And this is the mentor's job, and this is what they're going to bring to you. And this is your job as a builder, right? And I love this because this is, setting things up with realistic expectations and healthy expectations from the beginning so that we can always come back to this, right? So this is tips for successful strategy sessions. This is what that launcher can do to set things up for success, You can call your mentor at the point in time, come prepared, this is how you come prepared. You do your own personal development. So we're not spending the whole time just on this one block or another, right? That you've done your work. And knowing that their upline is going to match their energy. So what is the situation? What are my options? What do I think I should do? This stuff right here is helping them start thinking so that they're creating solutions within themselves too, and they've got some ideas and they're realizing that the answers are within them. It's not always their upline that knows everything, right? Their mentor. So some really good keys here. And I love that. It's got the strategy check-in right next to that so they can see, okay, this is what I fill out weekly. And you guys just keep.
This is so much cleaner.
Yeah. So it takes a lot of time to get things cleaner and go through them.
Complicated is easy. Simple is hard.
Simple is hard. But look at how simple this is. How does that feel right now? Pretty amazing, right? So let me, yeah. Okay, so first, you know, I've sent a photo of this. You can, of course, have something online where they can just fill out a form with these as well. But we found photo is super simple and it's really visual and it's easy for them to do. So we have people just print out a little stack of these and they've got them right there for every week and they're ready, and then they just shoot a photo and we're dialed in. And we're hitting on these key things, and we got a lot of feedback because a lot of people were doing, you know, we've had a certain style of success check-in for a long time, and then Elise brought forward, you know, the business basics check-in and the way they were doing that. And so we brought feedback together and brought together the best of those things here. So I'm hoping, I'm just really excited for that coming together in that way. So, you know, as they review last week, how did things go last week with your top 3 goals? This is your accountability. Anything that needs to shift going forward, like we're identifying what needs to shift right there. And then these are quick checks for prepare. I'm doing my prepare. I'm dialed in on what I need to do to prepare me, right? And again, we know that the green is the simple, I'm not spending as much time in prepare and support, but my focus time is in invite, present, and enroll again. So focus on IPing to build your pipeline, you know, and it even helps, like they're giving, okay, this is how many invites I did, and these are some ways to do them, so that as they're tracking through the week, it's spurring on their thoughts, and this accountability is helping them stay balanced, right? So the green boxes are last week's, right? Reviewing last week, and you'll notice that's in green. And then the goals for this week, they're putting in the blue boxes, right? So fill the total number completed last week in the green square, and then your goal for next week in the blue square. And so that's really simple to see those right next to each other, and then also helping them circle where there's a breakdown in activity, right? So if they're not able to make, you know, they've got a present breakdown, they already know that, and we're talking about that. And then we focus next week's actions on increasing flow in that area and getting through that and beyond that. So then our goals for next week, you just have your top 3 actions and making sure that they're using their rank planner for the month. So they're really thinking about what do I need to be, which legs do I need to focus on, or right? And then they know their part. And then what upline support do they need? And then are they going to have that done by next week? Is that a longer process? So again, this is their goals for this month. So they're reiterating that right here. If they didn't do a rank planner, then we're just relying on this. Hey, my rank goal is this. My power of 3 goal is this. And I'm clear about it. You know, we just haven't ever had that wrapped in, and I'm loving that. And then making sure we talk about any personal development or breakthroughs, that process, so that we're talking about that. I think a lot of times we skip over that when it's a really important part of the process. And then anything else that could help grow their belief, insight, or skills. This is a great place where you as a mentor could say, you know what, with what you're dealing with right now, I read this, I listened to this, and it made a huge difference for me. I think that would be a powerful tool for you right now to have more breakthrough, right? So that's a great way to just help in someone's breakthrough. And then any important reminders. Sometimes we do a strategy session and we don't quite dial into, hey, you know, 6 weeks from now, I don't know, just like the things that are coming up. Hey, holiday stuff is coming online and we want to make sure and address that. How can we get your team going and excited about that? Or we have this special thing that we're doing on our team, whatever that is, that's being dialed into right there. Isn't that amazing? Kat, I love your comment. I love how complete it is too. It only takes us like how many years, right? And this is right next to, this is the next spread, right? So they're just getting that affirmation of like, my success is up to me. It's not up to my upline, to my da-da-da. I seek and gain the necessary training to increase my skills. I continually break through limiting beliefs, build my character, and expand my influence as I reach my goals. So again, really feeling that, you know, you got some good touchy-feely stuff, some great quotes that you're loving from kind of that more inspiring piece. So the business training is a little balanced with that inspire. And this is just, we had some feedback that our business materials, our training materials at doTERRA just didn't really have any key things like this. It had really been stripped down with Share Success. And so as you see, these things are really simple things, but in case people have never done network marketing or haven't done personal development, these can be things that are just like, wow, okay, I got it. I'm up to speed. I get what you're talking about. I get what you value. And these are some real key things. And here you heard a lot about both sides of the bottle at convention. This is my favorite way to outline this and see it, right? It talks about doTERRA's partnership and what they're doing, and then their job, right? What's their job? So that I don't get caught up in their job and that I stay focused on my side of the bottle and what I can do here. And of course I share what's happening here, but doTERRA's job is to source, bottle, validate, right? Make sure it's pure, make sure it is CPTG, right? Ship and reward. They pay us, right? They give us rewards, da-da-da. That's doTERRA's part, right? And then here is our part as wellness advocates, right? This is what we do. We share, invite, we solve, we empower, and we lead. And when that's clear, it's like, oh, we can just avoid a whole bunch of other issues, right? So this is a really great one to dial in and teach people about what both sides of the bottle really mean and what our part is in that both sides of the bottle. Yeah, really powerful thinking, isn't it? And again, lots of feel guide. So feel good. Here we are already in invite. Just, again, the main purpose of inviting, why do we do it? To change others' lives. And this tells them what they're going to leave knowing, right? You're going to have shared sample stories and invitations with people on your names list, preparing them for a positive experience at a prezo. And the powerful quotes, this takes you into prepare to share, more clear than ever, right? This is the stuff that you share. You can share your story, an oil experience, a sample, or a link. And here's some of the best links right there, right? So that's just helping them catch a vision. They know, here's the top tips. Keep samples with you all the time. Always get contact information. Use doTERRA pre-made samples. You'll notice some great Chris Smith quotes here. He's joining us later, but this is right here, just coupled with the share your story page. And the most important thing that you can do is share that story. And Andy, like we've done a lot of work on our story. Where have you seen that make the biggest difference?
Well, obviously, you know, Seth Godin has written a book about how marketers are storytellers, right? So this is maybe one of the most core skills that we should develop, but might be the most overlooked as well when we think about, you know, what can I do to improve as a builder in doTERRA? So obviously we all have a lot of work to do to hone and really craft our story. But for me personally, the greatest value that I've found in going through this process of discovering our story is it's helped me get clear on my why. Like, I don't know any other process that's brought more inspiration and just plain clarity on why it is that I do doTERRA than writing my story. So I guess, you know, it's great if you come out of this with a great story to tell, but it's even better if you come out with a really deep why and clarity around your why. So, because with a why, you're unstoppable, you know?
I love that. And I think this is really the baby steps to a why, right? So at this point, you know, how many people understand what we're saying about all of that? But if we can just help them have a story to share, that's just a great starting place. And I was at a parent teacher conference last night, and my 10-year-old, he has got the best storyteller teacher in the whole school, right? And I'm amazed at how much he's learned in just a few weeks because this leader tells stories. So that there's no coincidence that we put share your story first, right? Because it's real. Can you see how simple that is too? Super, super simple, right? And then they've got it put together there. And then they're freed up to listen and respond to people because they've done that work, right? Can you see how many of these would be powerful with you and your teams even now, right? That share your story process. That's a great training piece that you're taking people through. And then here we start getting to some meat, some scripts, some amazingness here. And the scripting went through a lot of people, right? Because there's a lot of, it went through a lot of insights, a lot of different perspectives, so we could have things that work for different people, and you could go one direction or another. But I love what is drawn out here. So follow me on this for a second. So sharing and following up, right? So first step is they connect to discover, right? So they're starting a conversation with someone that they haven't connected with lately. And this is the scripting for that. And then you connect them to your solutions, right? So you share your story and you ignite curiosity. And that's the scripting for that. And then you're going to discover problems and measure impact, right? Just like we talked about in the beginning with the becoming a solutions provider. So that's your first 3 steps. But if you have a relationship, you can just skip those steps and come right here, right? So I think that's really powerful to remember. We've got a couple different situations, and this really helps people like dial into that and see how little, you know, that's not very much scripting for a whole 2-page spread. It's just really clear. And then you want to share oils or sample. This is the way that you can do it, right? And you can offer a sample and it's super simple, or you can schedule one-on-one or share a link. This is giving you all of those options. And so you're just inviting them to try and then sampling. And we've got the highlights of sampling right here. Again, I think all of these things have been shared before. I just don't think they've ever been dialed in to this, this clean of a process, right? So you sample, you set expectations, so that they know what to do, right? How key is this that we say from the beginning? Everyone has different body chemistry, so each person gets varying results. If the first oil you try does not give you the benefit you're looking for, we can try another option. I'm confident we can find what works best for you so you can get started with safer, natural, effective solutions in your home and at your fingertips, right? So just like nothing has been left out of this experience, but it's also really dialed in. And the follow-up, I felt like was really discombobulated before. It was just more stretched out. And I feel like this is super clear. If someone, hey, I'm calling to check in, like we talked about, how was your experience, you know, with the peppermint? And if they had a positive experience, you just go to tell me about it. Great. And these are your next steps. If they had no results, tell me about it. You listen, you restate, and then you decide what to counsel them on, right? And you've got that wording right here. Maybe they didn't try the sample. And so you say, that's okay. Here's what we're going to do. When you get home tonight and start getting ready for bed, blah, 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 I'll give you a call in the morning and see how it goes. So you're giving them the basics on how to use it again and taking them through that process. So I love how clear the follow-up is. And this was also one big pitfall that we found is sometimes people just stop responding. They just go silent. And this is some great text, right? That you can send back. Hey, your world's probably been crazy. Hoping to hear back so I can help you with what you've talked about. Are you ready to chat about about your sample experience? Or I'd love to save you a seat at our next class. You know, just getting some basic scripting so that they know what to do when somebody ghosts them or whatever the situation is. So this section of the guide, I don't know how to spice this up or do a dog and pony show here. It really is just power in the scripting. But you'll see that we're going over the basics to effective inviting. Then this is so powerful to do at a training. So they're practicing inviting to a class, right? They're practicing inviting to a one-on-one and inviting to a watch video or webinar, right? And then what does the remind text look like? Here's their remind text. Here's the call. Here's the text 2 to 4 hours before, right? And, you know, this is the invite with sampling and what we've done in that process. And here's the invite if you don't sample. And here's what that looks like. And this is all scripting, just all scripting right here of like, hey, there are times when you can invite, you're on the phone with someone, you have repertoire, you can just go with it. And this is how you do that. And this is the overall ideal share and invite timeline. So people can get a vision of that no matter where they are in the process, they can see it, right? Like what a powerful thing for them to see how this works. And really, before we didn't have highlighted this onboarding process, you guys are gonna love how this brings it. I know, I love that, invite without sampling. This is super simple, and then it lets you know, hey, I'm enrolling them here, and then I'm beginning onboarding the next day. And we're gonna show you that process and how super simple it is. What questions do you have so far? Any questions coming up as we are here in inviting? Sweet, super clear. Again, great energy with the quotes and meaning the printed will be available. You can add to an LRP or an order the last week of October. And then, so Yeah, you can get the download on, Andy, did you share that?
Yep.
We'll share the download link as well. It's on the Empowered Success page. And yeah, we even have, we'll post this training on the Share Success page as well.
Facebook page.
On the Share Success Facebook page. So you can come back to this if you have questions and just speed through it. This section on reaching more people it's really meant to be practical. And I think it's super useful in the situation that we're in right now. Like, how many people are teaching live classes right now? We've been inviting all of our people right now. If you're in some place where you can be in a park right now and be outdoors and teach, now's a great time to do that, right? If that's permissible where you live. But these ways to connect just help people. If maybe they've hit their cold market and maybe they've hit their warm market and now they're going beyond that. These are some other ways to connect and ways to expand that market and reach more people through social media, and it's guiding them to the great trainings that we have there. And then even ask for referrals that we historically maybe haven't been as strong with. It's huge. I mean, Andy, what has happened through us by asking for referrals?
It's crazy. You know, like you would think, I mean, we come to so many conversations with assumptions, right? That, oh, if somebody wanted this, they'd come and ask me. Well, like, it's just not true. Like, the fact is, the more people ask for, the more people network, the more people ask for referrals, the more leads they get, period. I mean, it's just that simple. So, in fact, I watched a TED Talk on this just 2 days ago, and I'll see if I've got the link and post it in here. It was so powerful. Here it is. Isolation is the dream killer, not your attitude. So here's a kind of a quirky gal who lived in New York City and did some therapy, and yeah, she gives so many examples of people who just asked and they received. So I love it. COVID isolation, dream killer.
True. It can be. Oh, so I love that even amidst these situations that we're in or wherever people are at in warm and cold market, we just need to follow that principle of asking. And that's awesome. She gives a lot of creative stuff there. I love having the language to ask for that referral. And, you know, how often do you think, oh, that realtor is so annoying because they just asked for a referral? You just don't think that, you know, they're trying to do their business and they're real about it. And so here we go in present and enroll. So the whole purpose of that is just sharing the message with a call to action. And you can kind of see how those just like make sense to come together. And then we really, this first spread is all about hosting presentations. And for those of you that have been following the launch, you've seen this before, but just this is, I love how it's not just telling you what a one-on-one is, but it's like, hey, why would you use a one-on-one? Because it creates an intimate and personalized presentation. Why would you use a three-way call? Because it provides the support and credibility of your upline. So whatever you need, right? So an essential oil class, it creates essential oil experiences in a group setting and helps create social proof for followers in a low pressure environment, right? So virtual presentation, they're flexible, easy ways to schedule and accommodate long distance prospects or more immediate classes or one-on-ones, right? So quick ways to help people choose which kinds of prezo would be most useful, right? And I there's some really good points underneath them just to set you up for success with those. Again, it's like the goal of a class is to enroll customers so they can get started, not to teach people everything about the products, right? Like, so these things just set you up for success in these different interactions. And then the other side, right, is just, this is saying, hey, leverage this class planner to create a great experience for all involved, right? So here's the class planner, super clear, super clean. And it helps people be able to see, okay, I'm starting out, this is my role for class 1, and then this is my role for class 2 and my role for class 3, right? And a lot of this is going to, you know, just help that interaction and help somebody get started so they know what's going down and what they're doing there, right? So just super simple so that we're remembering all of the things. How many times have you gone to a class and they don't have the next class set up and somebody's super excited, but they don't have the next class set up, so there's nothing to funnel people to. It's really simple, but remembering all of the little things every time, it just doesn't happen. So if we want to be effective with our time, it's really powerful. How many of you have heard of David Allen? He teaches Getting Things Done, and he teaches that our brain was not meant to remember all these little things, right? So what do we use a calendar for, or a timer for, all of those things, or alarms for? They all there are just helping us dial in to reminders, because my brain wasn't meant to remember all of these things, right? But if I just have it built in that I'm going to use that class planner, then the details are taken care of and I can put my mind where it needs to be. So then just this present with confidence page, just a few basics to help them have good product presentations and to prepare for what if, so they're not like thrown off, right? When somebody says, hey, I heard that doTERRA's set up CPTG or whatever, or if they feel unqualified to teach, this is what can help them feel safer, you know? What if people talk about concerns over internal use? You know, I'm talking to my friend and she starts talking about this. What if I'm having low attendance or no-shows, or someone asks if this is an MLM? You know, these are literal responses and help you know what to do. What if someone brings up buying on Amazon? All those answers right here. How useful is that, right? Amazing. So again, if you're doing an online thing, it's like, hey, make sure they have what they need, links, instructions, materials beforehand. And whatever, one of the biggest keys, like if an upline is coming in to teach a class, if they know about some of the concerns, they can already tailor the class, right? So then we go into the class itself and just look at how fun this is. I know, right, Shannon? Good questions, right? That we're just like addressing right out the get-go. This may be your bathroom study material for the next little bit, is the business building guide, who knows? You guys, this is so fun the way they've laid out intro to oils now, right? So you can just see, these are the 7 segments of a class, and this is how long you should take on each segment. And you can see this timer is just showing you, hey, this is about where you'll be on the hour when you get to this part. And then when you get to invite to enroll, you should be right here, right? So can you see how the timer is just taking you around the clock, and you get to see exactly which part you'll be hitting. And you're just going through those 7 steps, right? We teach a little bit about edifying, so people get that. That was kind of left out before. and about the purpose of the class so that we're really clear on that. Okay. And then it goes into the script. How many of you love the scripts and want the scripts, right? So I like it simple. I don't like to look at all this, but there's a lot of people that just love to refer to this and make sure that it's right and dial into this or practice this, right, as they're preparing. So all the green is scripting. The black is just like description around the scripting. This scripting was just incredible work together. Callie Wilson, Laura Jacobs, it's just brilliant. All that's brought together here. It's clear, it's super down to earth, and it's like loving and has a good energy to it too. So I'm super excited for that. So you've got plenty of scripting to cover that, and you'll notice like your bases are covered, right? And you're seeing the graphics aligned with the scripting, so you can just know right where you're going, right? And then this section, you'll see a lot less scripting, right? The scripting kind of ends at the identify health priorities. As we move into discover solutions, you know, it's helping you know how to do that, discovering solutions. And that is present, and it takes you right into enrolling. So I love enrolling, and I love what has happened here. We really, you know, over the last couple of years, so many great things have come forward. And this, so you saw that now we were at 4 was at Discover Solutions, right? So 1, let me just hit those so you can hear them again. So step 1 is welcome and introduction, right? Step 2, what are essential oils and how to use them? 3 is identify health priorities. 4, discover solutions. And then 5 is taking us to 3 ways to buy. So 3 ways to buy. And here we've got the green scripting, right? And then you've got your retail, wholesale, and below wholesale. And you've got the scripting right in there, okay? So this is 3 ways to buy, scripting, super clear and super streamlined, as well as kit options. Super streamlined. And I'm so grateful that they just didn't change all the kits.
Yay.
With convention. So all of this is super relevant. It's right on track. And I promise the kits will be back in stock. Natural Solutions Kit and was it the Healthy Start? Those are both going to be back in stock. Should be first of next week. So great 3 ways to buy, and then we move into invite to change lives, right? So look at this awesome visual right here on the 3 types of people who they're sharing with. So those that want to be customers, they're thinking about themselves and their family. The sharers, who they're thinking about, and the builders, they're going beyond that to think about their community and beyond. And so we've got those 3 ways to buy, and then we invite to change lives. Hey, we have one of our faves online. We asked Chris to come in because he's been so key to speak to enrolling and how important that is in this whole process. And so we actually prepped him. We said, Chris, look, here's the new business building guide. Will you take a look at this and weigh in on what what we have here, what's useful, anything you would add, So Chris, we're so grateful you could join us today and bring your expertise on enrolling. Take it away.
I'm stoked. Yeah, I'm stoked to be here. How's everyone doing?
Happy.
Any day I get to connect with the doTERRA community is a good day. Yeah, so the business building guide, is incredible, and I've had the opportunity to go through it. And man, where's everyone's beautiful smiling faces? I just see names. And sometimes people are like taking themselves off camera and they're like, oh, I got to go put a hat on. Like, no, just, we all know each other. You're good.
Yeah. It looks like it might be a scruffy day for you too, Chris.
That's right. That's right. So here's what I want you to know. Like this business building guide and a tool like this, or any kind of framework you have that's shared with you of any kind, but specifically in this conversation around enrollment, it's only as powerful as you are committed to it. And enrollment is only, like any tool or any training that you use for enrollment is only as powerful as how enrolled you are first. And so, like, the first person that we have to enroll in this business is ourselves. And my fear is that sometimes in a business like this, we're out really like doing everything we can to enroll others, and we've not really enrolled ourselves, and we don't even realize it's happened. And until we're completely enrolled and completely committed, it's going to feel difficult to enroll others, because deep down, I think intuitively we feel a little bit inauthentic, or we feel like a little bit out of alignment. We feel like, even though it may not consciously occur to us this way, we feel like we're asking people to do things that we haven't really even fully done ourselves. Does that make sense? And so it's just off a little bit. We can't even understand why. It's like, but once you're fully enrolled, once you're fully committed, speaking of being fully committed, let me plug my laptop in here so my battery doesn't die. I got to be fully committed to having a charged battery here. And so, like I said, I don't even think sometimes it's super conscious, but it's like, why does enrollment sometimes feel off for me? Why does enrollment feel hard for me? Why does enrollment feel like pressure? Why does enrollment feel heavy? And a lot of times it's because, like, you're not fully enrolled. There's nothing wrong with, like, you. I think sometimes we think like, oh, maybe there's just something wrong with me. Maybe I'm just not good in enrollment. Maybe it's just I'm not a good enroller and I won't be effective at it. It's like, no, I think a lot of times it's like, and so I would just have you ponder a question around something like this business builder guide that you've just seen. And in order to really get the most out of it, it's like, what would it look like for you to be fully enrolled in this business? Like, what would that really look like for you to be completely, like, committed and enrolled in this business? Because the depth to which you're committed and enrolled in this business is going to determine, like, how much something like the business builder guide can work for you. But if you're not enrolled, I promise the business builder guide, any training I would offer, any training you could get anywhere else, it's just another tool or another training. But in order for the builder guide to not just be another guide or just another training that has some useful tips and tricks in it, but in order for it to be something that could be really transformative, it's like, yeah, when you're, like, completely committed. And I just want you to see that this idea of enrollment, to me, it's not like enrollment is just like one of the things in our business that we're focusing on, right? That's like, well, there's my story, there's my message, there's my presenting, there's my inviting, there's my enrolling. No, and, like, enrollment isn't another thing. In my opinion, enrollment is everything. There's nothing without enrollment. There's no business without enrollment. There's no influence without enrollment. There's no leadership without enrollment. Like, it cannot be viewed as just another thing. And I think sometimes, like, my kids are building a t-shirt business, and my wife sometimes thinks that I'm a little too brutal with them, because I'm like, I refuse to help them enroll. Like, they're going to do all the enrolling. because I realized that if I can teach them the gift of enrollment, and even if it's scary and even if it's like challenging and it's confronting, I believe that your golden ticket, like the Willy Wonka chocolate factory, the golden ticket, like your golden ticket to creating anything you want in your life is learning how to enroll. The key to the relationship of your dreams, enrollment. The key to a powerful like connection and relationship with your children, enrollment. The key to getting in front of like an audience that you want, enrollment. The key to like maybe saving your marriage, enrollment. I talked to a guy yesterday who's like really close friend of mine, and he's confiding in me, reaching out for advice because he's made some mistakes in his marriage and he wants to save his family. And I'm like, yeah, like the way you're going to save your family is like, one, being committed and doing what you say you're going to do, but it's like you've got to re-enroll your wife into a vision of what could be possible. You're going to save your marriage by enrolling your wife into a vision of what's possible and then you living it. Like there is no influence without enrollment. There's no leadership without enrollment. There's nothing without enrollment. And I just want us to like elevate the conversation that we're not talking about selling things here. Like enrollment is not sales. That's why I call it, and that's why we refer to it, and that's why I know in your business you refer to it as enrollment. It's like, to me, it's one of the most powerful, like I would even say spiritual experiences of my life has been those moments where I've been enrolled into a possibility or vision for something that I couldn't see personally, professionally, and also when I've had the opportunity to do that with other people. And to make a key distinction, what we're talking about when we're talking about enrollment is we're not talking about enrolling people into our thing. So I even want you to elevate. So I want you to elevate from sales to enrollment, because when we sell, it's about us. When we enroll, it's about them. And then specifically within enrollment, I want you to elevate it to an even higher level, which is we're not even talking about enrolling them into a kit. We're not talking about enrolling them into a class. We're not talking about enrolling them into sampling. We're not talking about enrolling them into being builders. What we're talking about is enrolling them into a vision of what could be possible for their life and their family. We're talking about enrolling them into what it is they want most, and then showing them how a sample or a class or a kit would help them start the journey to get that. Does that make sense? But you see the difference between the two? Like, why do you think it could be limiting if the only thing we see enrollment as is enrolling them into buying something? Why might it be limiting if the only thing we see enrollment as is enrolling them into our thing? I'd love to hear from, type in the chat or take yourself off mute. So again, if we only see enrollment as enrolling them into our thing, what might be limiting about that? Roxanne says that would mean enrollment or the change would end there. Yeah. It's like if what we're enrolling them into is just a program, a service, a product, then it's still great. It's powerful, but like that's really it. Like that's what's possible. But what if we enroll them into a vision of like what it is they want most in their family's health? Or what if we enroll them into the vision of what they want most in their family's like finances or lifestyle? What if we enroll them into like taking a stand for themselves and declaring like out loud what it is they truly, really want? And then we help them see that what it is we have to offer is actually going to get them there. So when we roll them into our thing, there's like really limited possibility. When we roll them into what it is they want, there's like unlimited possibility. Yeah, I love what Ask. It's like, I love what, I don't know if it's a D is your name, but like, I love what Ask D says, which is like, yeah, it's like they're being empowered. And like, you have to know that most people are walking around like in their daily lives, like just looking down. Like they're not thinking about what's possible. They're thinking about how to get through today. Like you have a real opportunity to serve people and like make a difference in their life by just getting them to lift their head up. And just saying like, let's explore what's possible. Like, do you see what could be possible? Like, what do you want most for your family? Like, what do you want most for your life? Like, what do you want most for your business? Like, what is that? Let's explore that together, and then let's enroll you into that. But again, like, have we done that? Like, are you completely enrolled into the vision of what you want most in your life? Like, are you completely enrolled in the vision of what you want most out of this business? Are you completely enrolled into like what it is you want most from these products? Because when you have that vision yourself, then something like the Business Builder Guide can like become alive for you. And it's like, whoa. So like the Business Builder Guide can be to your vision, like what it is we're talking about, which is like, well, if I get really enrolled into what's possible for my life, and then I can use something like the Business Builder Guide to actually help me get there. But see, the thing isn't like, it's not becoming enrolled into the Business Builder Guide. It's becoming enrolled into like what it is you want most. And then the Business Builder Guide can be an amazing vehicle to help you get there. Just like with your customers and your builders, once they're enrolled in the vision of what they want, then you can help them see how working with you and the products and the kit and the business can like help them get there and facilitate that. But I just think that if we could, to me, all of this starts with like changing how we even think of enrollment. Like it's just a term that's used so often that to me, it was really useful when I sat back a few years ago and just like, what is enrollment? Like I toss it out all the time and I talk about it, but like, what is it? And when I got clear on what it was and I got enrolled, because like, just like I'm telling you guys, I took so many trainings and so many courses and so many guides that just had limited usefulness, but like this like what they've put together and like the commitment they've made to this and the time and the thoroughness of like what's in that Business Builder Guide is remarkable. And it's only going to work for you to the level and like to the depth that like you're committed to it. And I think it's going to be really difficult for you to be committed to it and be enrolled into it unless you're like really enrolled into like, because if you're not enrolled into what's possible for you in this business, then it'll just be easy to like not do the work. It'll just be easy when you have a really hard day to like just kind of give up. But it's so incredible also to see that like, and you know what's amazing too is when you enroll people into what's possible for their life, you meet them where they're at. And so just like I think Natalie was ending when I jumped on in the Business Builder Guide, there's the three people. There's the people who want to use the product, the people who might want to like, you know, share with others, and the people who want to build. And see, one of the things that I think sometimes is when we're trying to enroll people into our thing, we fail to recognize which of those three they are. It's just like, hey, I don't really care what you want. You just need to get over here on my program and get on my side of the wall, and I'm going to tell you where we're going, right? And it's like, so the thought I want you to think about when enrolling is there's a wall of context that separates all of us in our lives. So if I was to meet Amy on the street or Carol on the street or Kathy on the street or Jeanette on the street or Rebecca, like instantly the minute we meet, I see life from my vantage point, and Shannon or Samantha or James or Roxanne or Heather sees life from their vantage point, which makes sense. And what divides us is a wall of context. Meaning on my side of the wall is my context of how I see the world. On this side of the wall is your context. And guess what most of us are doing in enrollment conversations? It's like, hey, I'm going to stay over here and you come get on my side of the wall and see it from my point of view. And let me tell you what we're going to do. Or it could be, hey, you stay over there on your side of the wall where you're comfortable and where you see things from your perspective, and I'll do the work and let me come over that on your, let me get over there on your side of the wall. And actually not let me just get on your side of the wall and like face you. It's almost like, let me get on your side of the wall and like sit next to you and like see what you see. Like, yeah, like what is that out there for you? Like, I see this thing over here. Tell me about that. I see this struggle you're having over here with a child. Like, tell me about that. Like, I'm really with you. Like, I really see you. Like, I really feel you. Like, I really, really like understand, like as best, like I try as best I can to see like, what is your life like? Like, what is it like living your daily life? What is it like to have a husband who like has that challenge or struggle? Or what is it like to have children who are facing that? Or what is it like to like you to struggle with this? Like, yeah. And I love what Susan says, like this changes the thought of enrolling to reach a rank and instead like enrolling to empower others to get what they want. But when we get on their side of the wall and we enroll them into the possibility, maybe the only thing that's possible for them right now is a $250 kit. Like that's the furthest thing they can see. That's great. Like if that's what's possible for them, we're going to like do everything we can to transform their life with that, with what's possible. Maybe what's possible for them is a little bit more like they want to buy that kit and then they're really committed to inviting, or maybe what's possible for them is like they want to build. And I can tell you that I think a lot of people have been enrolled in this business that what was possible for them when they enrolled was just buying a kit. And you know what? A lot of those people who what was possible for them was a kit, they're now presidential diamonds. Like I can't tell you how many presidential diamonds and diamonds I've met that the only thing that was possible for them when they enrolled was a kit. Right? And so it's just like the way the guide breaks down and the way you're just like meeting people where they're at. But yeah, you guys might be able to tell that I am pretty like passionate about enrollment. Like I believe it's everything. And I believe this guide is incredible. And I just encourage you to just like, yeah, what would it look like to be really enrolled yourself?
I love it. So powerful. And I think that's maybe one of my biggest takeaways from convention is for the first time, the owners kind of pulled back the covers so that we could see what commitment looked like to them. So when they started the business, you know, they liked the idea, they thought it was good. So what did? They flew back to New York, got some investors. The investors were on board. So they're like, yeah, we'll invest. We want 51%. And it was at that point that the owners all had to look at each other in the eyes and say, if we don't take any money and we pull out all the equity out of our homes, drain our 401ks, if we just go all in with this, are we willing to commit? So I love how like that's the bar that doTERRA was started on. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't just a job that these 7 people showed up for and they kind of crossed their fingers and hoped it would work. Like they bet everything on this. And as I look across the field and look at those who have been the most successful, it's those who have risked the most, those who have made the biggest commitment and said, you know what, I'm all in and I'm burning the ships. Like I'm not just dipping my toe in and crossing fingers, you know what I mean? So I'm thinking more about our story too, and how every time we up-leveled our commitment and our enrollment, the more our business just exploded to the next level.
And the thing I would say, Andy, is like a lot of times though, we wouldn't think about that like being enrolled. We would just think, okay, but like, and I would guess that that's the minute, like that moment is the moment the 7 founders of doTERRA really truly became enrolled in doTERRA. So this idea of I'm talking about like what would it look like to be enrolled. So what if instead of just talking about enrollment, we talked about like being enrolled. Mm-hmm. And like, yeah, when they were enrolled, like that's like what commitment looks like. And it's like just really incredible. But I think truly the reason why so many of us have had hangups in the past or have one now about enrollment and it's not conscious to us is I know anytime I've had a hang up around enrollment, is because I intuitively knew, even though it wasn't conscious for me, I intuitively or subconsciously knew that I was asking people to do something that I hadn't completely committed to myself. And it's always going to feel a little bit out of alignment. It's always going to feel a little inauthentic, even though you're not inauthentic. But see, if I'm a founder of doTERRA and I've mortgaged my home, I have no issue going out and boldly and powerfully enrolling others and asking them to be enrolled, because I'm not asking them to do anything I haven't done.
Totally agree.
Wow. That leaves me with the question of like, okay, for each of us, what haven't we done yet? What is it time to enroll ourselves in today? What's the next level?
Yeah. And not from a place of like guilt and shame and beat ourselves up and like, it's just like from a powerful place of like, yeah, what does it look like to be more enrolled? Like, what does it really look like to be more enrolled and like go empower more people? But I love doTERRA. I love enrolling. I love, you guys are amazing. Thanks for having me on, for letting me share a little bit.
Thank you for bringing that passion, for just reminding us of the power that we have within us.
Okay, ABE, always be enrolling.
Yeah,
That's right.
Always be enrolling.
By the way, I got a text from your son yesterday, and he's like, "Hey, can we talk?" So you've got a son who's always enrolling in his father's steps.
Just be prepared. You better hang on to your credit card tight, Andy, if you get on the phone with them, because they are out for blood, man, with their t-shirt company.
I love it, as they should be.
That's awesome.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Chris.
Okay, thanks everyone.
Love how he's telling us, all this is dead without who we are, right? Today we're flying through this just so you have a quick overview. But without that power, that commitment, it's empty, right? So that's what's key. And so we're gonna bring that same energy to every interaction. You bring that enrollment energy to where you are. Can we walk you through the rest of the guide? And honestly, if you want to speak about anything, just text us. Put it in the chat, please.
Yeah.
Okay, so back to, we've got about 15 minutes to wrap. And so here we are telling about the kits. Here's the 3 types of people: visual, the inviting to change lives. One of the things that you'll notice here is like, what to do if they choose the customer track. These are your next steps. Sharer track, next steps. But also the recommended enrollment. Like, one thing I find is that people want in as a builder, but nobody coaches them on which kit. So this is just something that I've always said from the beginning, and this is great, great language, right? If you want people choosing in big, you're inviting that. So great scripting right there. Book classes from classes scripting. So we make sure and wrap the class with that, and inviting to enroll. And here's if you're running into issues on that enrollment, right? Like if people don't know which kit to order, here's your word tracks, financial concerns, other concerns, and how to get the enrollment happening all the way, right? How many people know how to make that happen? And that this is placements. So as we wrap up enrollments, really simple way to see it. This is the difference between your customer, sharer, and builder pathways and what they're choosing. And then of course on builder, we're breaking it down to committed and capable. What's your role as an enroller and a sponsor, and where you should place them. And all this has gotten more key, more clear than ever, right? Here's the top tips of all of that brought together right here. So I love that you've got a couple pages that you can just take them to. One of the key parts of this business building guide is helping people work to the 250 bonus. And so I love how simple and clear this is on helping them see, hey, get your 50 and then move to that 250. And it's this simple. right? We're not taking them to a 1500 planner where they're like, oh, wait, but just right here, baby steps, baby steps. But enough that they know and they can work on it. So just rocking into support. This is one of my favorite spreads of the whole piece because, again, like we said earlier, onboarding has just been crazy town out there of knowing what to do. So we took all of the onboarding checklists, all the welcome letters and everything, and just made sure that we had the best of the best right here. This is what you do. This is the ideal timeline that's set out here. Here's your scripting for any of these, right? We're adding them to some kind of contact management app, even if it's your own phone, right? They're getting the wellness consult. They're getting some help before the wellness consult, so they're prepped for that. And then this is what they're getting every month. This is what they're getting periodically. And this is how you invite them to host and build, right? And that's taking you to a healthy customer community. And we just have never had that laid out. I invite you to just like dial into that. It's super powerful. Remember when Dave Sterling was like, actually, you don't understand the power that you have here with your customer base. And because our first unilevel check was $7.83, we were like, I think you might be off there, Mr. Sterling. Turns out the customer base has always been like 82 to 85%. It's always really, really strong. And doTERRA is so unique in that way. So taking care of those customers is key. Have you always wanted a simple way to show how to do the wellness consult? This is it right here. The first part is the entering the lifestyle. This is super quick. It's flipping through the pages. This is where you might consider offering a reference guide as a gift to setting up their first LRP order at 125 PV before the 15th of the month, right? This is just the beginning part, and you're flipping through the pages and giving them a brief overview and answering any questions. And then you get to the wellness consult page, and this is what you do there. And this is how you're connecting them to resources. Wrap on the wellness consult. It's 3 steps, right? Very visual, very clear, and telling you exactly what you do when. If they have concerns at the wellness consult or otherwise, here's what you do. If they need more oils, this is where we're going. If something's blocking the effects, or if they need to try something different, this has got answers right there for you. This stuff that you're gonna see next is a little more for, remember how we talked about it really has the basics of launch, but then it has some other things added on. A lot of launchers don't need to think about this yet, right? But these are some really powerful parts on continuing ed, right? If why we do it, top tips, and some of the best classes, right? How about other continuing ed, like group wellness consults? A lot of people from the get-go start freaking out about individual wellness consults. So you can go right here, teach them how to do a group wellness consult. That's it. You know, this is all you're doing. How about just online resources for continuing ed, or user gatherings, virtual or live? And then there's this fun section on nurturing customers. So it's all about the nurture. It's all, let's say October 1, doTERRA comes up with a special. You want to reach out to people. You don't know exactly what to say. Well, this is where you go to the nurture customers page, because we nurture, we have this vibrant community of customers, and it's powerful. So connect and discover is the first part. Then you're going to add value. So this whole next page has add-on scripts. So if you're inviting them to community continuing ed, that's that script. If you're offering promotions and incentives, there's some scripts for that. Inviting to share and build, there's that script. So those are all the add-on scripts that go in the middle, and then there's your wrap. So this is, you can even do something with this that you help your people know their retention rate starting out. And then you do this campaign, right, to nurture customers, and then you come back to that retention rate in a couple months. That way, totally teaching people how to create urgency with offers and making a VIP customer list so you can let them know about things and nurture them in that way. So here's a couple added on pieces for those nurture calls. Like, here's how you can address needs and book a wellness consult call. Maybe you didn't give those people a wellness consult, and this is how you can come back at it. This is how you can schedule that, right? And then this whole section that we said that has been overlooked in the past, which is finding builders.
Before we move on to that.
Yeah.
So this whole concept of creating a customer community.
Yeah.
You know, I used to think that in the market that we're competing with places like Amazon, where people can make one-off purchases really fast and really easy. You know, they don't even have to think about putting their credit card or the shipping. Like, I used to think if I can get someone to enroll, then I've won a customer from Amazon, you know, hashtag winning. But the fact is, a more similar industry is like a health club. You know what I mean? Like a yoga studio or a tennis club, where someone is so committed, they're so enrolled, as Chris would say, that they're paying a monthly fee to get access to the knowledge, the education, the products. So when we have enrolled someone and they now have an account, that's not the win. The win is when they've joined the health club, right? When they've enrolled into this community and this mindset and this lifestyle. And so that's more the mindset that I want us to adopt, is how can I create this community of committed, passionate product fanatics who want to keep learning, who want to keep living and expanding their wellness. So to me, that was super useful, just to switch my paradigm. Mm-hmm. We're not going after one-off purchases. We're going after lifestyle changes.
Yeah. And there's never been a better time, just like you're saying, Heather. People need the connection and community. I did not realize what a powerful tool doTERRA's community was for us. It has been so key. And it's gonna be, it's a key part to people staying healthy in all ways. Mm-hmm. Socially healthy, everything, all that connection. So then we come to the finding business partners, which Andy and I could probably say is the most important part of this whole guide. And really, you know, this gives you like the mindset for finding business partners right here. And so many times we skip that and are just like going through the motions again, right? Just like our enroll conversation. This mindset piece has got to be in place before we can ever create real business partners. And there's nothing like it once we hit it, right? This is worth it. It's worth the time invested to get this mindset going. Anything else?
No.
So I love that this outlines the ideal business partner and, you know, who they are and who they're not. And maybe you have some other specific things that you're like, I'm not willing to work with this, right? Add that to the list. Be clear on who your ideal business partner is, because until you create that, you know, that vision in your mind of who it is and who it isn't, attracting it is more difficult. So just get clear right there. And then I think for a lot of people, I used to think that this just came naturally and people totally knew what to do. And it doesn't, I would say, to most people. And so here's some tips on that and how to set up three-way calls that will bring that strength so your new builders can feel like they can find those business partners and get the strength that they need. And that's That is really, really key. Again, you know, just like over in the customer section where we were talking about, you know, you need to ask for referrals and da-da-da. Part of expanding your influence with the people that you're working with is you're going to invite people to host classes. You're going to set them up for success hosting wise, so they can be set up for success to be becoming a builder. You're going to ask for business referrals, for builder referrals to come. And let's say how many leaders have we been with that they're approaching the waitress or the waiter at a table and just talking to those strangers and inviting them to build with them, you know? We have a presidential diamond that one of her favorite ways to enroll is to enroll in the line at Disneyland, right? And it is just because she understands how to talk to strangers and she lives it, she does it, right? So these are just a few other ways to kind of open your mind to that. So powerful. So part of inviting builders is just the intro to build, right? So you're going to see this layout just like you saw the normal class layout, just using the build guide to teach an intro to build. And again, that could be 20 to 60 minutes. This, again, our other class had 7 parts. This has 9 parts. You can see where we're at minute-wise as we go around, right? This layout is the 60-minute layout. It gives you question and answer, time to invite to partner, right? This is like if you really did a class on this. But I love that you can visually just see that and just have that there as your cheat sheet as people are teaching their first one. And then we've got all the scripting right here. One of the key things to remember if you're doing this as a one-on-one is just to keep them talking. They should be speaking 80% of the time and you should be speaking 20% of the time, right? If it's a one-on-one. So keep them talking and then you talk a little bit and share some powerful information. And again, you're seeing the scripting in the light green and that gives you the intro to build right there. So just like we had the onboarding timeline that we looked at, this is your Launch New Builders timeline. And this highlights, just like Andy was talking about in the beginning, we're using the business building guide instead of the launch now. So we would plug it in just like this. You can see the 6-week to elite process, right? Class, wellness consult, intro to build. And then we're popping right in to the business building guide and they're setting up their business and fueling their launch, right? And that's all that needs to happen right there. And this is showing that this is all pre-launch. This is part of this. You can take, you can give this a couple weeks, right? Because we're showing right here the 6-week process. This is showing this is what we're doing in week 1. And then week 2, they're starting to share invite and learn more. So they're ready to jump in at week 1 and be presenting and hosting classes, right? And then week 2, 3, 4 takes them all the way to elite and it's just giving them their key steps, right? So you can see these line up with the steps at the very beginning, but this is just a visual so that it's all coming together here. And then once they've reached elite, they're celebrating and then their next steps would be going to the train guide and knowing that they've got those other supports in their next steps, okay? Any questions on that launch timeline? Isn't that powerful to see that? I know, I'm like double thumbs up myself right there. And it's just gotten really simple. We've launched a lot of builders.
Yeah.
We've got that process can either be streamlined and clear or can be a little muddy and we can lose people in that process. So following that process and keeping it clear in your mind and tracking it, you know, and plugging people in is just, we invite you to automate that and get it rolling so that your people are set up to launch builders and you're set up to launch builders. And this is just going into, as you mentor them, these are the key things. And you know, we went over the strategy check-in earlier, but this just breaks down that so you're getting what's going on through each of that and getting some tips to set you up for success. I love that we actually talk about mentoring instead of wait till silver to talk about mentoring. And then you'll notice just a couple other yummy things on personal development. If you want to do these when your teams need these are extras on personal development because we didn't want to weigh down the prepare section. And so a lot of this goes into a little bit of, you know, how you can earn more, work smarter, do more of what you love, and teaches how to do more of a vision board, use your oils to support that, right? And a lot of these things are just helping them do better at their personal development. This gives them the first recommendations for personal development. Some of you will recognize the confidence statement. This goes into strengths. This is some stuff that we've been taking our people through because doTERRA didn't have it integrated. And now we're gonna have them go right through here so we get strengths right in the get-go. How many of you remember the confidence statement from the first launch? This has been super useful for us in our process just to help people get clear enough that they can break through whatever upper limiting and issues that come up. And this is got this, you can just cut this out right here so they can post that up. You can challenge that. You can challenge your people to do that as part of their launch process. And then one of the other feedback that we got as people looked at other people's startup materials was like, hey, we don't even talk about the compensation plan, friends. And so this has a great quick thing on the compensation plan as people are kind of getting their feet wet and learning things so they can see all the aspects of it in a really simple way. And then this even teaches the leadership pools, right? That's more expanded and clear, and you can look at all of those pools right there and see it and understand it. This is one last thing that's in the appendix is this doTERRA roles. And this has been really useful in conversations along the way. So you can use this page to get clear, to pay attention to where people are at, or to taproot. So that's a great idea to have it printed and at Staples and just make the magic happen so you're not waiting until next week. So this to me is power packed. We've waited so long to bring it and see it all together in this way. But now as I look at this, I know that, hey, when I have somebody that wants to build, I'm setting up an intro to launch. And I'm going right back here to my beginning. I'm going to show you where this all comes back around so you can follow with me. But intro to launch. So I'm just coming back to my 5 steps for success. I don't know. Coming back to my 5 steps for success. And I'm having people just start at the beginning and they can see what to clue in on. And then the part under fuel your launch, I'm saying, okay, before we meet together for our intro to launch strategy session, let me take us back to page 7. Before we meet together for that intro to launch strategy session, you just need to do the 2 steps right before this, and then we're going to review these things together in our intro to launch. And we're going to schedule your first classes. And we're going to get they can do as much of this fuel your launch as they want to before you get together. But these are the things I'm going to make sure that we review together. And then they're going to be ready to go. Okay. So I love that I can just, have this step one, and we can do an intro to launch strategy session together, and they can be off to the races. So I hope you're seeing so many good things that are useful to you in every part of this guide. But I think the most important thing is just helping people start out. So whatever you need to do to bring it back, to experience it for yourself, I know that I have got to live it. Like Chris was saying, I've got to enroll myself in it. I've got to be like one with it, right? I got to understand it. I got to teach it. I got to train on it for it to become relevant in our business, in our lives. Then I can change more lives with it.
The Gallup organization that created StrengthsFinder, they've done all this research on what is it that makes people move and take action, right? Like they've studied more organizations and more individuals than any other company I know of. And guess what the number one thing is that people need to move into action? They need to know what's expected of them. So if you get comfortable and familiar with the business building guide and you use it in your launch guide, in your launch process as you launch builders, then guess what those people are going to come away with? A crystal clear knowledge of what's expected, both from you and from them. So they know I can move forward with confidence because this isn't just some crapshoot that we're going to figure out together. You know what I mean? Like it's not a guessing game.
Dialed
the worst,
in.
If somebody asks you, so what does it look like to build doTERRA? The worst thing you can say is, well, it kind of depends. Like it depends to them sounds like, oh, nobody knows what they're doing over here. This is crazy town. Why should I invest my time and energy here? So I am so excited for us and for you to be able to move forward and create so much confidence with brand new builders so they can say, I know what's expected. I can move forward with confidence.
That is a game changer, my friends. So live it, let it become a part of you so you can bring that to the table and offer that to others. So we are taking our current teams right now and we're going to go highlight pieces in this and do challenges of some of those pieces that we focused in on today that can just help us bring it to a new level. And then bringing that to those new builders is going to turn up duplication like crazy. And I'm so excited for what that clarity will bring. So excited for you. We love you so much. Way to create, way to show up big, no matter what is going on in the world around us. The world needs what we have and what we know. So keep sharing your light and what you bring to the world.
Thanks so much, guys.
Ciao.